Christ alone, my hope is found. He is my light, my strength, my song. This cornerstone, this solid ground, firm through the fiercest drought and storm. What heights of love, what depths of peace, when fears are stilled and when striving cease. My comforter, my all in all, here in the love of Christ I stand.
All right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another We Read the Documents live stream. Your host, John Burson. Thank you for being a subscriber. If I coughed during the stream, I apologize. I'm just getting over a cold. I want to thank everybody who donated. I needed it because I was not able to work at DoorDash the past few days because I've been very sick. Finally now starting to get on the mend where I can actually talk and not cough. Hopefully, anyway. I'm going to have to pause myself. You might hear me cough a little bit, but I'm doing a lot better. Just keep praying for me and my family. Thank you for all. If you donated, buy me a coffee / We've Read. If you want to subscribe to my work, search We've Read the Documents on Odyssey, Substack, and Patreon. Substack's where you get the most access to my content. And We've Read the Documents, social media, gorf.com / We've Read, gorf.com, home for free speech. So, yeah, good boy. Russell Brand's back.
Hey, have you seen Break Bread yet? We're going to be doing it every single week. It's going to be streamed live.
Now Russell Brand has a Christian podcast of all things called Breaking Bed, and the first person he has on is Tucker Carlson. Get ready for me to play that. Oh, I gotta get caught up. We got at least 3 Tucker Carlson streams now. I gotta get caught up on.
You'll love it. The first episode was with Tucker. What I like most of all is it's talking about how Christianity will be a challenge to power. That when you read the book of Acts, you realize that early Christians were radical, rebellious, and involved in a struggle against power, the corrupt.
Wow. Early Christians were rebellious and struggled against power. So did they, try to overthrow the Roman government like the zealots? The Jewish zealots? No. I think you're a little wrong there, Russell. You could say the Jewish zealots were that way, but not the Christians. They died as martyrs. They proclaimed the gospel. They were first put to death by the Jews and later by the Romans, right? Persecuted. They didn't preach or teach to overthrow the Roman government because they knew that their home, just like our home, is in heaven, not on earth.
Corruption within myself, but the systemic corruption as well. Both these sets of corruption are likely from the same origin, social and personal corruption. Where does it come from? It's pretty clear in the Bible. I learned a great thing when people use Romans 13 as an indicator that we should subjugate ourselves to government power. You have to bear in mind that when Paul wrote that, he was in jail because he was so willing to oppose the government of that time.
Yes, by preaching the gospel and by being a Christian, not by taking up arms against the United States or anything like that. So, I've done numerous streams on this. You can go back to look at one of the early Beast in the Heartless streams about, rebellion, against tyranny, is not godly in this regard. Especially if we're entering into the end times, that is for sure. Of course, if a government causes you to break any of Christ's commandments, love God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, love your neighbor as yourself, cause you to harm others, cause you to harm yourself, then yes, you're able to disobey the government, obviously. But, it depends on what the government asks you to do, okay? And you don't take out arms against said government. You just don't do what they're commanding you to do. Civil disobedience, okay?
The persecution of Christians and Christianity. I love it because people always say Romans 13 is an indicator that we should submit to the state. We should not submit to the state. Good Christians do not submit to globalist power. What an amazing message. Join us for Break Bread. I forgot, that's the reason I'm talking to you. You should have a look at that conversation. We're all just as good and just as bad as one another, in spite of what they want you to believe.
We're all just as good as bad as one another. Another universal message. We're not good, Russell. We're bad. And all of us have fallen short of the glory of God. Not that everything that we do is evil. And we are created in God's image. It's not, a complete picture of who we are, but we can only attain good through Jesus Christ. So, it's what do we expect? What do we expect from Russell Brand? And here, here's the podcast. Definitely going to cover it, okay? So becoming a believer, I wanted to create a space where I could talk about my faith on a deeper level with others. So, of course, he puts the Kabbalah bracelet wearing Tucker, who claims to be a Calvinist now. That's who he chooses. The Catholic Russell Brand and the Kabbalah bracelet wearing Calvinist Tucker. First episode of Break Bread be covering on the channel. Look, David Icke had a private Zoom call at his request with Tucker, good old Theosophist David Icke. Connecting, David Icke calls himself the dot connector. Well, I'm just connecting them dots, aren't I, David? J.D. Vance, I believe the destiny of this country is to conquer the stars. Whatever your views of Elon's politics, there's something that should inspire all of us. There we go, J.D. Vance. Platform boosting Elon Musk. We know J.D. Vance directly multiple connections to Peter Thiel. And, Peter Thiel's lackey. And, again, the worship of space, travel and conquer the stars, put forth very strongly in Theosophy and Barbara Marx Hubbard, the World Future Society. Talked about that at length on this channel. So, anybody who's out there who's heard me speak for a long enough time should know exactly what I'm talking about there, okay? They should know. You should know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So, just further proof, A lot of the white nationalist organizations like Order of the Nine Angles are obsessed with space, reaching the stars. Okay. Oh, so here's Grant Cardone, who is a well-known Scientologist. You know what? He spoke at the Coachella, California Trump rally. And, he dropped a lot of F-bombs. And, I'm not going to play it, but I just want to show that Grant Cardone was there. Major known Scientologist. And here's Theosophist General Mike Flynn, CFP Mike Flynn, platform boosting Cardone. Cardone is a leader Elon Musk should bring into the circle for the Doge. We're going to do a feature stream on the coming together of this. Somehow Elon Musk is going to be head of an agency that cuts government waste. And you need an agency to cut government waste. He's going to be the head of an agency to cut government waste. You need an agency full of staff, full of people, full of Elon Musk to cut government waste. But you make more waste by making a new agency. But I digress there. I digress. Oh, look, it's Alice Bailey's organization, Lucius Trust, very strong within the UN. I can't read this fully today. Sorry, I'm already fighting back coughing as it is. So this is going to be a quick stream. I'm sorry, I wish it was longer. I have a lot to say, but alas, I'm still ill. But I definitely will be reading this in a future stream. I might have Ryan from Real Sports History back on. But they mentioned BRICS, and they mention the shift towards a multipolar world is gathering pace as energy continues to pour into human consciousness from a variety of sources, not least Shambhala. So they are very much for a multipolar world. Okay. So it looks like the plan is coming to fruition. Okay, talk about as a consequence of this, the nations of Eurasia, along with the developing nations of the global south, are collaborating to form one economic bloc, BRICS, to challenge the hegemony of the G7 nations and effectively monopolize global economic policy as well as other international issues. Its development may be a contributing factor to the present global tensions as widely understood or admitted by the West. While the United States of America has been the omnipresent power in global affairs to the European support, the era is rapidly moving towards a greater distribution of power and influence. So there you go. They're calling it the divine economy. Definitely going to do a stream on this. Oh, look, Miriam Adelson. Sheldon Adelson's widow. Miriam Adelson dumps $95 million in pro-Trump super PAC. Adelson has now given $100 million to the group, exceeding the $90 million she and her husband gave support in 2020. So it's $195 million she has now given. Or maybe it was 100 total, yeah. So, GOP megadonal Marian Adelson, the wife of the late casino magnate Sheldon Adelson, both ardent Zionists, put $95 million into her pro-Trump super PAC, Preserve America. They're doing nothing but destroy America, but whatever. The massive influx of funds brings Adelson's total goal to the giving to the group to $100 million this year. Okay, so it's $100 million total. She had $5 million before, 95 now. She's one of the several billionaires bankroll pro-Trump groups. I've mentioned Timothy Mellon. Interesting, Wyoming bankier Timothy Mellon, $125 million to another pro-Trump super PAC. Elon Musk, as well. So there you go. Sheldon Adelson giving $100 million more than they gave in 2020. Oh, look, from Truth Stream Media. Right before the most contentious election ever, the DoD just reissued Directive 524001, allowing more military involvement in civil law enforcement and authorizing legal force in domestic situations, which wasn't in the latest version. So I went and checked both. They put both documents up there, and went to check, and they are correct. So, Citizens are responding with assets for potential lethality of any situation which reasonably foreseeable. The providing of the requested system may involve the use of force that is likely lethal force, including death or seriously bodily injury. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where the confrontation between civil law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups is reasonably anticipated. So, that's interesting. Oh, we have Eric Prince says he's with Elon Musk and he wants to run America like Twitter. So we have to remember that Elon Musk wanted X to become the America's WeChat. So social credit score, total government control, over your life. You get your good boy points, good girl points. Okay, so let's see here. Good old CMP Eric Prince. Let's see what he's got to say about this.
We're suffering from the endless stream. It's like the socialist default paradigm of more government control, and more spending is somehow, if they just put the right people in charge and spend more money on it, we're going to get there. Sadly, we are all suffering from the consequences of that paradigm, and it's going to get worse unless we make a significant course change. And that's why I said, he quoted me accurately there, Jacksonian accountability of cleaning out the failed dead wood. I'm with Elon Musk. Yes, we should take the federal government, the head count, down by at least 80%, just like he did to Twitter.
So, yep, the reduction of the accountability. Elon Musk being the government accountability czar to reduce the government and running it like Twitter. Musk has already said he wanted Twitter to be the WeChat, X to be the WeChat. So there you go. It's more further proof there for you. I don't know what else you need. I'll play it again real quick for a second.
We're suffering from the endless stream. It's like the socialist default paradigm of more government control, and more spending is somehow, if they just put the right people in charge and spend more money on it, we're going to get there. Sadly, we are all suffering from the consequences of that paradigm, and it's going to get worse unless we make a significant course change. And that's why I said, he quoted me accurately there, Jacksonian accountability of cleaning out the failed dead wood. I'm with Elon Musk. Yes, we should take the federal government, the head count, down by at least 80%, just like he did to Twitter. We're suffering from the endless stream. It's like the socialist default paradigm of more government control, and more spending is somehow, if they just put the right people in charge.
So there you go. I mean, what more can I say? Asked about political execution, Michael Flynn says gates of hell will be unleashed under Trump. CMP Theosophist Michael Flynn, who served as a national security advisor in the Trump administration, led his fascist flag Friday at a Christian nationalist event on Friday. The video recorded at the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival. Yeah, oh boy, we're gonna get to. Maybe me and S90 will do that stream as well too. You remember the Rod of Iron, right? You have Ivan Ranklin in the back here. Let's play this video real quick and continue. Remember, Rod of Iron Ministries is the continuation of the Unification Church and Reverend Sung Mung Moon and his kids, the AK-47 gun church. Okay, they assault AR-15 gun church, Rod of Iron Ministries, right? Heretical Rod of Iron Ministries. That's where the Theosophist Flynn said this. We'll get to Trump in a minute.
Saturday, instead of being in Iowa, he placed a phone call into Michael Flynn's, quote, the Reawaken Tour. This was being held at Trump Doral. What is the Reawaken Tour that is hosted by Michael Flynn? It is a Christian nationalist conspiracy theory movement, a conference in which hundreds of thousands of individuals gather. I want to let you hear Donald Trump's phone call into that event.
General Flynn, he's some general, he's some man. He took abuse like nobody could have handled, and he came out bigger, better, stronger than ever before. We love him. He's a leader.
Oh, this is Saturday. Well.
And you just stay wealthy and healthy and well and everything. I want you to have great lives in general. You just have to stay healthy because we're bringing you back. We're going to bring you back.
Now, this is very interesting. You know, we had some weird events that really don't make sense happen at the Coachella Trump rally over the weekend with, I always forget the guys. Hold on. He's got a million names. Vern Miller, right? Vern Miller. You know, Vern Miller. We don't really know this the whole story. The sheriff, Coachella, Bianco, and you know, Vern Miller saying he was going to kill Trump, but then he didn't say it. That was actually a message from his Twitter account a long time ago. You know, alluding to someone taking care of the president. And then, you know, him getting arrested with guns in the back. You know, did he disclose those guns? Like, none of it makes any sense, okay? Like, I would do a stream on it if, you know, We Read the Documents was the main thing that I do, and I was streaming every day, then I would. But it's like, really, what's the point to do a stream on it? It's interesting, and I've done a lot of research on it with my friend Derek, but I don't really know if it really it warrants stream, but a lot of it's not adding up. There's multiple studies. There's stories. There's a story from the sheriff's office. There's a story from the sheriff's deputy. There's stories from the sheriff Bianco. There's a story of Vin Miller. Vin Miller has many different aliases, has changed his name frequently. By his own admit, it's been the Diddy parties. Diddy owes him tens of thousands of dollars. You know, business partners with Mindy Robinson. You know, had a show where he was, you know, being around with a whole bunch of Flynn cronies. Interviewed Flynn. You know, been in a car riding around with Ivan Ranklin. You know, Jason Burmis went to bat to defend Miller. He was really good friends with Miller. You know, so they call this a third alleged assassination attempt on Donald Trump, right? You know, he shows up with no, you know, bad press credentials at a checkpoint, but then the story is that he has press credentials were valid, and then, you know, that he had, you know, driven over to the cops and said, hey, I have guns. I'm here just to disclose that. You know, was it a rental car he was in? Was it his car? Did he drive from Nevada? Like, there's so many different stories going on with this. I can't make heads or tails of it. Now, the craziest thing is, you know, it could have been a big mistake, mess up. Okay, just happened to have those guns, disclosed them thinking he was doing what was right, and he's perfectly innocent. Okay, but there is a possible theory. All right, with everything that we know and its deep connections into the Flynn nexus, that if it was a rental car, now he claims it's his car. Now I don't know. Okay, but was he again, two stories. He claimed he drove up to disclose the weapons, but the cops and the sheriffs said that he they're doing checkpoint, they're checking press credentials, right? And then he disclosed it, or then they searched it and found it. Again, there's so many different stories. So was he unaware of the weapons? It was, if this was, not his car, but a rental car. Was he bringing those weapons in for a potential assassination attempt on Trump? 3, 2, 1, we go live this time. Was it done by the Flynn nexus? Okay, because, there are, various clips out there on Alex Jones' show, for example, of Reichlin and Flynn both being like, well, if we get, God forbid something happens to Trump, and Alex Jones himself has said this, then, Flynn, they put him in, that's why Trump should have chose Flynn for vice president. Then, he's truly would terrify the deep state. Now, I'm not saying that that's what this was. I'm just saying that if you look at the evidence, look where it leads you. Okay? Was the sheriff just doing what he was supposed to do? Because it went from him being an oath keeper and a very pro-Trump sheriff to him, videos of him, kneeling for Black Lives Matter. There's so many narratives, and this is part of Cambridge Analytica 3.0. There's so many narratives going on here, and so many narratives going on with informational warfare currently leading up to the election. It's at levels I've never even seen. I can't even make heads or tails of this story. Now, I know Vern Miller, definitely something going on with him. Now, as have anything to do with this so-called third assassination attempt or not, I don't know. But, I mean, the whole multiple passports, not multiple passports, multiple IDs, changing his names multiple times, him knowing Diddy, Diddy owing him money, he just vomits this stuff and volunteers up this information, so I don't trust him as far as I throw a brick. So who knows, but same weekend as a Coachella rally, Trump tells Flynn we're bringing him back. I don't know what that means. Okay, I don't know what any of this means. All right, do I think Flynn's coming back? I really don't know. Sometimes I think he's on the outs with the Trump administration, him and Reichlin and Patrick Byrne. But then again, Trump says this. I don't know. There's so much warfare going on right now.
My wife's going crazy.
Well, we're proud of you. I want to thank General Flynn for being a very brave man who was absolutely tortured. And he's stronger now. He's stronger now than he ever was. And it takes somebody very special to pull that off.
We're bringing you back into the Trump administration. For folks who have forgotten Michael Flynn over the years, you'll recall he left the White House after he lied to Vice President Pence about his conversations during the transition period with the Russian ambassador. Michael Flynn is the same guy who pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI as they were investigating those very conversations. He pleaded guilty to the FBI for lying and not disclosing his work of hundreds of thousands of dollars with the Turkish government. He's the one who was pardoned by Donald Trump just 2 weeks after the 2020 election. And who was his lawyer? It was Sidney Powell. After that, he has become a close ally who has continued to spread conspiracy theories related to the 2020 election, but also he has continued to spread conspiracy theories about Russia's invasion into Ukraine, suggesting that Russia has exposed the, quote, bioweapons that the U.S. has funded. That is Michael Flynn. That is the split screen out of this weekend in Iowa. Donald Trump calling it a Michael Flynn in the Christian nationalist conspiracy theorist movement versus Ron DeSantis actually in Iowa making the case to Iowa Republicans.
It's a pretty dramatic split screen. And, people do in Iowa, as you know, in Iowa, New Hampshire.
All right, that's how I was going to play that because I was interesting. So, in a video recorded at the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival in northeastern Pennsylvania, video responded to attendees' question about military tribunals and potential executions of Donald Trump's perceived adversaries. Trump returns to the White House. Former president has vowed that Flynn, who Trump pardoned after the retired Army Lieutenant General pleaded guilty to lie to the FBI, would serve in administration if he's elected this fall. The attendee asked if there's any chance should the election end up going a positive result, mean Trump winning, to them. Would you get your rank reinstated and sit at the head of a military tribunal to not only drain the swamp, but imprison the swamp and on a few occasions execute the swamp? The man's remark was met with applause from the apparently bloodthirsty crowd. You hear in Flynn's response that he's hesitant about offering a full-throated public endorsement of this idea. But he walked right up to the line. No, we know he's gone over the line in other statements, okay? Like, let's be real here, all right? What your sentiment is about the accountability, said Flynn, adding that the Founding Fathers had a similar priority. I definitely believe we need accountability, he said. Your question went into some other areas, Flynn added with a laugh before concluding. I think a lot of people actually think like you do, and I think that's your right and our privilege. That's the way to get after this, but we have to win first. Flynn's closing remarks offered a frightening window into the havoc he intends to wreak if Trump wins. About winning, we have to win. And these people are already up to no good. So we got to win first. We win, and then Katie barred the door. Okay, believe me, the gates of hell, my hell, the gates of hell, my hell will be unleashed. Trump suggests using National Guard military against an enemy from within. Right, remember, Trump's also talked about the purge. We talked about Reichland and the coming purges, raids and purges. Trump said it'd be one bad hour, okay, which is direct reference to the movie The Purge. Former President Trump in a Sunday interview suggested the National Guard or the military on Election Day to combat what he described as potential chaos from the enemy from within. The group Trump said includes radical left lunatics. In an interview with Fox News' Sunday Morning Futures, Trump dismissed President Biden's concern that the election day wouldn't be peaceful and said when asked, he thinks the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroyed our country. But Trump, you're the enemy within. I think the bigger problem are the problem from within, Trump said. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, some radical left lunatics. He calls them sick. Remember Trump derangement syndrome? Remember this, the reopening of the mental health institutions and people going into them and FEMA camps and homelessness being diagnosed as a mental illness. We've talked about this in various streams throughout the Beast and the Harlot series, even beforehand. Okay? So if you are against Trump, you're a sick person. And you're a sick person who needs help. You need mental help because you have Trump derangement syndrome. There you go. This stream, and I wish I could talk more during this stream because this stream pretty much covers everything I've talked about through the Beast and Harlot series. From the New Age, to the plan, to the coming purges and raids. Okay. This is a plan complete. I don't know. We'll see. I think it should be very easily handed by, if necessary, by National Guard, if it really necessary by the military, because they can't let that happen. And Ivor Reichland, of course, go back to my previous stream, The Coming Purges and Raids. Phase 1 begins in 3 weeks, which is the election. Get ready, winky face. And he calls himself, Ivor Reichland, the Secretary of Retribution, a very interesting deep state marauder with the weird S going down Thunderbolt of Thor, but also is commonly used in white nationalist circles. Very interesting symbology there. Coming SS. Yeah, just saying. All right, everybody, take care. God bless. I wish I could have talked more today, but I just can't. hopefully more streams in the next few days once I get my voice back and I stop coughing. I love you guys. Take care. God bless.